I set clear boundaries in my FWB with her, but then she confessed feelings for my best friend, breaking my trust and friendship. I had been involved in a casual relationship for some time, and I was uncertain if I was prepared for something serious after my previous significant relationship ended. Having distanced myself from romantic entanglements for a while, this girl expressed a desire for a serious commitment, but I wasn't ready for that. After we had been friends for several months, she began to frequently drop hints about a friends with benefits arrangement without directly stating it. I reconnected with someone from college, whom I believed would be a good match for my best friend, but the issue was that he was entangled in a toxic relationship. He had been in this situation for quite a while, consistently complaining to me about it, and I suspected she was unfaithful. I aimed to help him build the confidence and self-worth to exit that relationship. I arranged for them to meet as friends since I had been spending time with her for a few months, and we all shared similar interests such as the gym, video games, and hanging out. Before I began my casual relationship with her, I had a final conversation with my best friend to confirm whether he was truly committed to his relationship and if he had any interest in our new friend. He replied, "No, I only see her as a friend, I'm with partner, and I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. Why do you ask? Does new friend like me?" I responded, "No, but she has been dropping very clear hints about a friends with benefits situation with me. I wanted to check with you first because I thought it would be a good match for both of you." My best friend told me, "Oh, well, no worries, you should go for it. I don't see myself with new friend at all." I assured him, "All right, as long as you're sure, I don't want anything awkward to happen." I clarified that I wasn't interested in sharing any girl with friends as that would make me uncomfortable if he changed his mind later. A few days later, new friend and I were playing video games and she started hinting once more, subtly indicating what she desired from me. I responded playfully, and she invited me over. Before I accepted, I reminded her that since we were friends, we should establish some rules and boundaries to avoid hurt feelings later and have a discussion about her true intentions. After our conversation, we set our rules. It was to be purely physical. We would remain friends, continue gaming, go to the gym, etc. Our current friends were off limits if we decided to pursue a relationship. If it didn't work out for either of us, we could end it without hard feelings, and if we started dating, we would halt the arrangement to avoid complicating things. She expressed that she wasn't looking for a relationship at the moment. She just liked me and was feeling lustful, and assured me I didn't need to worry about wasting her time since she didn't want children. This was important to me, as I don't want kids and didn't want to waste someone's time if they did. Fast forward 3 months, and we had formed a solid friend group consisting of me, my best friend, her, and a few of her acquaintances. We went to the gym, watched movies, dined together, and maintained our friends with benefits arrangement. My best friend's relationship hit another significant rough patch, and again, I suspected infidelity. Other members of our group began to sense this as well, so I believed we collectively tried to encourage him to leave his girlfriend. He began messaging new friend frequently. Previously, it was mainly to coordinate hangouts or check if I was at her place, as I tend to leave my phone in another room, but he reassured me it was just as friends and he wanted different opinions regarding his situation. My advice was always, it's time to step up and tell her you're unhappy, either leave or communicate your needs. Then things started to get strange. She began conversing with both me and my best friend, sharing comments made by the other, which we either didn't say or were exaggerated, triggering my red flags. After a few weeks, it became apparent my best friend was developing feelings for her. I spoke to him about it, and he denied it, even as her friends began suggesting that she and my best friend would make a wonderful couple. One night, she vented to me about how, so-and-so, believed she and my best friend would be good together, but she couldn't date him because 80% of their conversations revolved around him complaining about his current partner and his lack of intimacy, suggesting he was the problem due to his misery. She then revealed that she openly discussed our sexual encounters with him, a definite red flag. I don't think someone other than me should share such information, and that she found him pathetic for his inability to communicate with his partner, remarking that he openly confessed to begging for sex and was willing to abandon plans with everyone to watch her dog while she fed him blatant lies about going to play Fortnite with her girlfriends. I replied. It's amusing because from an outsider's perspective, I would agree with so-and-so. You both have a lot in common, which is why we all get along well. However, I'm relieved to know you aren't interested in him that way because it would make me uncomfortable, and I wouldn't want to be around if you two started dating. My work life intensified, limiting my availability for about a week, coincidentally just 2 weeks after her comments about his pathetic behavior. When I finally had free time on the weekend, she invited me over for physical intimacy, but felt compelled to inform me that she had developed feelings for my best friend. I found this exceedingly odd and was quite upset about it. I had established clear boundaries and rules, which were being violated shortly after I had been assured they would not be. I apologized, told her I couldn't come over, and went to bed. The following day, I had plans with my best friend, and while we were driving, he also seemed uneasy about the situation. He suggested that I continue with the friends with benefits arrangement, even though he had feelings for her, stating that it shouldn't prevent me from pursuing what I was doing until he resolved his situation with his girlfriend. This shocked me, and since he was driving and we were far from home, I attempted to divert the conversation, but he persistently returned to talking about her. I became perplexed when he mentioned that she had shared things with him that I never said. When I pointed this out and recounted things she had said to him, he appeared equally confused, leading me to think something odd was happening. He expressed frustration and suggested it might be best for both of us to back off and focus on our friendship, implying that if this situation affected our friendship, it wasn't worth it. He spent the remainder of the day messaging her constantly, and later that day, after I had returned home, she messaged me, complaining about him because he had bailed on plans to hang out with his annoying girlfriend. I lost my temper and told her I didn't want to interact at that moment because I felt deeply betrayed by the boundaries we had agreed upon being disregarded. She then completely exploded on me, apologizing for upsetting me while simultaneously blaming me for the situation, declaring that she truly wanted children and a relationship, but knew she would never get those things from me because she wasn't a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. Every message she sent was filled with self-pity, refusing to acknowledge the root of my frustration. She insisted, "You wouldn't feel this way if you didn't have feelings for me." "I have strong feelings for you. I'm simply trying to overcome them, and I have no one else in my life besides your best friend." At that point, I decided to stop responding, feeling hurt, but things worsened when my best friend contacted me, expressing disappointment and calling me a jerk for upsetting her and being overly sensitive about the situation. I told him it was evident that this was straining our friendship, and if he genuinely valued our relationship, he would take my side and understand why I felt hurt, as well as recognize that he had also breached my trust by confiding personal issues in someone while developing feelings for her, knowing that we had discussed his girlfriend. The following week, I believed my best friend and I were beginning to return to normalcy, but since she lived along my route home from work, adding an extra 10 minutes if I wanted to avoid passing her house, I noticed his car there every day. He later exploded at me for inquiring about how his girlfriend felt regarding his frequent visits to another girl's house, responding, "She doesn't care, but I'm here because you broke new friend's heart, and she's upset because of you. You're being a strange jerk about this. You introduced us and said we would be a good couple, so I don't understand why you're upset now that we want to date. We even told you that you could keep seeing her while I figured out my situation with my girlfriend." I completely lost it at this point and told him, "First, I never implied she wasn't good enough for me. Second, I set clear boundaries with both of you before this started, and that's why I'm upset. Third, that's messed up. How can you not see that it's problematic? You're asking me to keep her comfortable while you sort out your issues." I subsequently blocked and deleted both of them from all my social media platforms and messaging apps. I am still feeling quite upset because it all seems incredibly messed up to me, and I fear that I am losing a friendship that spans 2 decades over a girl he has known for only 3 months. I'm confused, as the entire friend group is now labeling me as toxic and a jerk. Story 2. OMG. After choosing my girlfriend over my family, they threatened to cut off my financial support. What a wild ultimatum. I, 21 male, typically do not seek help from external sources, but I feel completely overwhelmed and require assistance that is as impartial as possible. For context, I have a close relationship with my parents, and I am an only child. Here is the full account from my perspective. In December 2023, my girlfriend and I had been together for 2 years. My family was hosting my father's side for Christmas, and she was invited. However, we also had my mother's side's Christmas immediately afterward, and my girlfriend was not included in that gathering. My mother's side is quite private regarding family matters, and it has always been this way. Despite this, my father's side stayed longer than expected, and we had to rush to get ready to leave. It would have been inappropriate to ask them to leave at a specific time. My girlfriend had a more personal Christmas gift for my mother, intending to show her respect and admiration because she does not have a mother. She passed away when my girlfriend was young. Unfortunately, this gesture did not occur because my mother was in go mode, and I ultimately had to push my girlfriend out the door. She was blocking my car, so she needed to leave for me to be able to go. When she left, we did not embrace, she simply departed. Both she and I were upset and stressed. After leaving, she experienced a panic attack and called me. I did my best to calm her, then went to Christmas dinner. My mother noticed I was upset, and when I mentioned it, she exploded. She perceived my girlfriend's actions as attention-seeking and disrespectful in her home. Instead of being gracious for the invitation, she thought my girlfriend was trying to obtain an invitation to Christmas. This was the worst moment I had ever witnessed my girlfriend in, not only because of her distress, but also due to a serious ankle injury she is still recuperating from. At that point, my parents insisted that I break up with her over the incident. I refused, and we stayed together, but my girlfriend was prohibited from visiting the house and has not seen or spoken to my family since. This was the initial issue that started this entire mess. We continued to go on dates and spend time together at school, as we both attended the same community college while trying to navigate the situation. However, every time I returned home and there was a minor problem, my parents would explode with anger. When I attempted to address the issues, they insisted they did not want to communicate with her, so I advised my girlfriend not to reach out, fearing it would exacerbate matters. Eventually, May arrived, and we were preparing to graduate from community college. On graduation day, I experienced some level of anxiety due to the stress of my girlfriend being present, my family being there, and my attempts to keep them apart to avoid drama while delivering a speech for which I was nervous. It went well, though. During the summer, we went on several dates, but my parents remained strongly disapproving, and things turned pretty ugly. Often, small issues would arise in our relationship, and they would criticize her harshly. They refused to recognize that anything they said or claimed could be incorrect. As we began transferring to different four-year universities, we prepared for a long-distance relationship, a journey of 2.5 hours. However, my parents made it abundantly clear that they did not want me to visit her or for her to visit me. I respected their wishes. During my first semester, I did not drive to see her. I ended up rushing to join a fraternity as a junior, and she attended my semi-formal event, but that was the extent of our visits. I saw her briefly for my birthday in October, back at home, and then again at the semi-formal in November, but that was really all. By this point, we had been together for approximately 3.5 years. During Christmas time in 2024, it was the same old situation. My parents wanted me to end the relationship and refused to compromise, creating a significant issue when I expressed the desire to visit her for Christmas and her birthday, which is also in December. I distinctly remember my mother's comment, "Oh, you're still together and still pursuing this." Additionally, my mother made remarks about me needing to put a ring on her finger and whether I was willing to jeopardize the family over this relationship. Throughout the semester, my mother had expressed her feelings about me being away, and I recognized it was challenging for her. There was a persistent nagging to return home, given that it was only an hour's drive from my university, making it manageable. We called almost daily to check in and maintained a close connection. However, the transition to living away was difficult. Returning home for winter break reignited the girlfriend situation, and I was unable to cope. I simply wanted a break from her, from my family, from everything. In hindsight, this may have been uncalled for, but I was genuinely unhappy dealing with the situation. For context, at this point, my parents had scrutinized my phone call records and had read my texts with her. Thus, I did not see my girlfriend for Christmas, her birthday, or New Year's Eve. I know this hurt her, but she accepted it, understanding I needed space. Our communication diminished significantly, with minimal texting and no calls. After returning to campus, I gradually began talking to her again, but I still felt overwhelmed. My schedule was packed with classes, fraternity commitments, and extracurricular activities, leaving me little time to communicate, which caused me to pull away from her. She also made some poor choices in our relationship by turning to others instead of me and concealing her emotions without communicating. Eventually, she did things that frustrated me, and I reached a breaking point. I ended our relationship in mid-January. Initially, after the breakup, I felt fine, but a persistent sense of unease lingered. I felt sad and truly missed her. Looking back, I realize I may have made a mistake and was too quick to give up. I feel as though I succumbed to the pressure from everyone around me and broke up with her because that was what they wanted. After discussing things with my roommate, I texted her, asking if she had time to talk after about 3 weeks. We had a fantastic conversation that allowed us to identify where things had gone awry. We both miss each other and still love one another. We both want to give it another chance. The few people I consulted were cautious but supportive. My parents, however, were not. My mother was aware I was upset when I called her one evening and pressed me hard to share my thoughts. Eventually, I told her that my girlfriend and I had spoken and were considering reconciling. She did not react well. She seemed more upset than angry. That weekend, I visited my parents and spent about 3 hours discussing the situation. They stood firm in their position, insisting I should remain broken up and that it would be a mistake to try again. They claimed that she did not care about me and that I was being manipulated, providing no positive feedback about her while neglecting to acknowledge their own wrongdoings. I would feel differently if they admitted any fault or provided evidence for their claims, but they would not. I expressed my intention to return to campus and discuss the matter with my fraternity brothers before making a decision. This upset them, as they believed I valued the opinions of acquaintances over theirs. I returned, and as I mentioned, the response from my fraternity brothers was cautious yet supportive. When I called my parents to inform them about my decision, they became furious and lashed out at me. They firmly requested I do not pursue this path, presenting me with an ultimatum: it was either her or them. They insisted that by choosing her, I was abandoning them. I despise being forced into decisions like ultimatums, as that is exactly how I feel. This situation should not be about choosing between one or the other. I simply desire to be happy. They made numerous hurtful remarks and refused to listen when I tried to express myself. They stated that they would no longer support this financially, which I initially interpreted as them expecting me to pay for my own phone plan and other expenses, which I could manage. However, during the conversation, they hinted at completely cutting off financial support. This interpretation affected me deeply. I sought clarification on this, and they more or less confirmed it. I still have one remaining year of college, and I was supposed to graduate without debt. At present, I feel utterly lost, and I genuinely need some guidance. Thank you. Story 3. I felt intense goosebumps while listening to music, realizing it linked to a spiritual energy called mana, transforming my perception. As the idea of Kai gained widespread recognition in the East, oceanic societies observed a similar phenomenon and referred to it as mana. What is the connection to goosebumps? Here is a straightforward explanation for how you can become aware of your mana. It is that profoundly pleasant euphoric sensation that is most easily identified during instances when you experience involuntary and voluntary goosebumps, chills, or frisson in response to a positive external or internal stimulus, such as listening to a favorite song, reminiscing about a loved one, watching a touching movie scene, feeling gratitude, praising God, praying, and so forth. What does mana signify? Mana is a term that stems from Polynesian and Melanesian cultures, describing a supernatural energy that permeates existence, akin to the contemporary concept of aita. Anything or anyone can embody mana. It was believed to exhibit healing properties that could be enhanced or diminished based on one's actions, emotions, and thoughts. Mana is characterized as a form of energy that can be cultivated either positively or negatively, depending entirely on the individual nurturing it. They believed in the acquisition and cultivation of this energy, asserting that one could perceive a person with a well-developed source of mana through their actions and movements. This aligns closely with how the term aura, as used in Hindu philosophy, suggests that it can be recognized in individuals purely by their presence and manner of speaking or acting. Wikipedia link about mana. https://nwikipedia.org Wikimana, Oceanian Cultures. And a paper from the CIA website discussing the accuracy of Kai and its application in the Eastern discipline of Qigong. https www.cia.gov Reading Room Docs CIA RDP 9600792 R000300400029 PDF FastFaw. Apart from mana, this experience has also been reported and recorded as the runner's high. The sensations encountered during an ASMR session, bioelectricity, euphoria, ecstasy, voluntary piloerection, goosebumps. Freesaw, the vibrational state prior to astral projection, spiritual energy, organ, rapture, tension, aura, nen, otic force, secret fire, tummo, kai in Taoism and martial arts, prana in Hindu philosophy. Life force, vayas, intent, piti, etha, spiritual chills, chills induced by favorable events or stimuli, the tingles, on-demand quickening, rua, and many more yet to be discovered, potentially with your assistance. All these concepts indicate that the purposeful activation of goosebumps has been recognized to offer multiple biological advantages, including clearing your lymphatic system or meridians, experiencing euphoria and ecstasy throughout your entire body, directing your spiritual chills to any area of your body, regulating your body temperature, inducing goosebumps, at will expanding your pupils, normalizing your heartbeat, alleviating stress or anxiety within your body, promoting internal healing, accessing your hypothalamus, whenever needed, controlling your tensor tympani muscle. Additionally, I have uncovered other applications for it that are more spiritual, such as effectively utilizing your psychic abilities, clairvoyance, clairaudience, spirit projection, higher self-guidance, third eye vision, managing your auric field manifestation, absorbing energy from any origin. Here are 3 instructional guides that explore this subtle energy in greater detail, explicitly demonstrating how you can learn to sense it voluntarily, perceive it anywhere, amplify it, and utilize the biological and spiritual benefits. P.S. Everyone experiences this activation at various points in their lives. Some dismiss it while others recognize that something more profound is transpiring. These individuals are precisely the ones you can connect within the subreddit community r/spiritualchills, where they share experiences, insights, resources, and tips on the subject.